Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. My name's Madison Rawlings. I work here at Green Spaces. This should be a really good lunch and learn. We're so thrilled that all of you are here. Green Spaces, if you are not familiar, is Chattanooga's sustainability nonprofit. And our mission is to advance the sustainability of living, working, and building in Chattanooga. I will say, if you haven't gotten your lunch already, please go ahead and do so. We have the introduction where we're going to be talking about us before we hand it off. So go ahead and grab your food now. We couldn't exist with supporters without you. And we have a wide range of programming to address sustainability within the Chattanooga region, from energy efficiency to workforce development to STEM education, all the way to working with businesses in the community to further their environmental impact goals. One of our programs is Empower, which teaches low and no cost ways to reduce your energy bill. If you want to learn more about that, please give a shout to Francine. She's in the back. She can schedule a class, which are completely free, and teach ways that you can reduce your energy burden, whether that be to your office, if you'd like to teach with them, or your civic group, or just some folks in your neighborhood. We have Build It Green, which stemmed out of Empower, and Build It Green is our workforce development program that is in partnership with the AmeriCorps Opportunity Youth Service Initiative. Francine, will you set out some more chairs, please? And the Build It Green program right now, we have 12 members that are going through training for weatherization, insulation, and green building skills. So this program lasts anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks for our members. And at the end, they receive a minimum of an OSHA 10 certification, as well as blower door test training. Green Leader is a program that we run in conjunction with Chattanooga State, and it is an 8-week continuing education course for folks that want to really dive into sustainability and don't really know where to start. It starts off talking about sustainability on a local level here in Chattanooga. This is the history of how we got to where we are today, and then goes into opportunities for you to make a difference in your home, workplace, or community. Green Light is a certification program for businesses and organizations, nonprofits that would like to pursue an environmental campaign within their workplace and culture. And it's an online, self-led and directed modular program where you can check in with us and we will help you take the steps on your sustainability journey. Another one of our programs that we house is SPGC, which is Sustainability Professionals of Greater Chattanooga. If your role at your organization is your sustainability person, you're the green leader within your team, and you want to plug in with other folks in Chattanooga that get what you're going through, some challenges, then please visit our website. We have an application form to join this group, so to help troubleshoot and provide support for other people in the area. And thank you, of course, to our founding partners, Compass Commissioning and Franklin Architect. Our top members, Scenic City Solar, Franklin Architects, Green Strategies, Newterra, AEED, and Ruby Falls. And all of our members on the business side and the nonprofit side. We can't do all of this programming that I have mentioned before without the support of our members, and membership is the way that we are able to continue the work in Chattanooga. So I encourage you to become a member, whether that be on a business level or an individual level. Students have even a discounted version to make it accessible for everybody, excuse me. It starts at just $10 a month for an individual membership. So I really encourage you to talk about that. If you come to 2 lunch and learns a year, it pays for itself. So now I'm here to put some events on your calendar. The biggest event that is all consuming for green spaces right now is the Chattanooga Green Prix. I mentioned it earlier, the STEM education program. The Green Prix is where students, elementary school through high school, design, build, and race their own electric vehicles. And we are hosting this out at Volkswagen for the second time this year. And we need all the support, and whether that be through cheering students on or coming out and lending a hand, helping us volunteer. We would love to see you. That is next weekend, the 20th and 21st at Volkswagen. That being said, I need volunteers to help make this happen. It is a multi-day event. We have to make this event safe for all of the students. And so I need hands to make that happen. So I will be having volunteer opportunities on Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're free any of those days and can spare some hours and would like to help out, please scan the QR code up top or the QR codes that are on your tables. Another event that I would like to shout out is Green Drinks. Green Drinks is our monthly green networking opportunity for folks, whether you want to get to know green spaces more, network with like-minded individuals, or get to know our host more. This month is Greens Design and Building Supply. They just moved locations from Red Bank to downtown, and we're having a little bit of a housewarming party for them. So please come out and join us. It's always free and open to the public. And we would love to see you there. Just make sure to RSVP. It's on our calendar. And a little bit of housekeeping. Everything you are eating on today is compostable. Your forks, your plates, your napkins, your cups, if you have them. The only thing that isn't compostable are the Coke and Sprite cans. And please put those in recycling. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Savannah Ward and Eric Asbo, who are going to be presenting on today's topic of the Walnut Street Bridge. Savannah started this whenever she was a graduate student, and I'm really excited to hear about her research. And Eric is here with the city. So if you guys will welcome them up, we'll get started.
Hey guys, thank you, Madison. I'm going to do my best to keep this mic in front of my mouth. Eric's going to come up a little bit later, so it'll just be me for the most part, and especially in the beginning. So again, thank you, Madison. My name is Savannah. I'm here with UTC and as a CARTA employee. And we're going to be discussing the Walnut Street Bridge impact study. So there was a needs assessment that went out earlier this year, looking at the impact of a potential closure on the Walnut Street Bridge. And I'm going to be discussing the results today. And then some of the objectives of today is to discuss the background information that led into this survey, the survey design, the results, any challenges and next steps. And Eric will be so kind to help tackle those. And then my main goal is just to present and examine the survey results from this survey. So this was the flyer that went out several months ago, if anyone's familiar with it. It made its round through the social media and news. And this is what we used to promote the survey. So when I was getting ready, I'm gonna see right here. When I was getting ready for the survey and kind of what led to the survey creation, we started noticing some news articles and that were posted in October of 2022. These are just screenshots from the news articles online. And so the top one we had that the Chattanooga Department of Public Works was stating that the bridge would be shutting down in sometime in 2023 for the bridge to be repaired. And then another one from the Local 3 News in October of 2022 that it would be closed next year, said by a spokesperson from the Mayor Kelly's office. And then since the survey, this came out in May. So Again, someone from the city identifying that the bridge would be having some type of shutdown due to sandblasting, repainting, and replacing parts of the bridge. So it'd be repairing it and maintaining it and doing structural repairs. So that just goes to say that this is the formation of what this survey was doing. And feel free to ask any questions, or you can hold them towards the end, but absolutely don't be scared to interrupt me. And then Mayor Kelly identifying or saying that the deck is rotting and it's going to be stripped and sandblasted and repainted. So, and this was again presented, or excuse me, in the press on May 2nd of this year. And then the TIP, which is the Transportation Improvement Program, it's a 4-year document that is a place to look at all the funding for the projects in the regional area, no matter where the source comes from. But this is where the funds are coming from for the bridge. And again, this is all leading up into why the survey was created. But from this picture, we have the total funds to be up to around 31 million, a little bit over. And then 18 of that is coming from the federal government. And then a little over 12 million is coming from local government as well. This is public information. You can just go to the Regional Planning Agency's website and look at the TIP. Again, Transportation Improvement Program. This is the most up-to-date version of it. Absolutely public information. And then this is a bicycle and pedestrian count, again, through I think it was TPO, which is also part of the Regional Planning Agency. This is a count looking at North Market Street and Fraser Avenue. So not necessarily at Walnut Street Bridge, but very close to it. And we were able to see the count for 3 days in October. They were done on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And just in those 3 days at that one location, they saw over 6,000 pedestrians, 751 bicyclists, 21 individuals, 21 scooters, and then 12 individuals in a wheelchair. And then at the bottom, we're able to see kind of the frequency throughout the day of those. So I think this shows what it does. It shows just how highly trafficked that area is. And then going into how is that going to impact that community, as well as the people who are using the Walnut Street Bridge. And then if you've been on the Walnut Street Bridge, this is what it currently looks like. I took these just a couple weeks ago. And we have some filling of the wood planks. It looks like in the past it had been mulch. And then maybe some cement or some type of harder material. And then some rusting on the rails. So if you've been out on it recently, you've definitely seen these things. And then leading up to the survey, so looking at all of these items, it led to how the big question, like how is this going to impact the community in that area and the users on the Walnut Street Bridge? And then what are some safety concerns coming out of it? So the 3 main pillars kind of were looking at active transportation. So how is the potential closure going to impact physical activity levels? So I was doing this for the Master of Public Health program. So we were looking at chronic disease prevention. So physical activity definitely plays a role in that. And then impact and safety. So how is the potential closure going to impact users, and will it create any safety concerns? And then if this bridge does close, depending on how long it does close, is there a preferred alternative pathway? So is that Market Street Bridge? Is that Veterans Memorial Bridge? What does that look like? Can it and should it be reconfigured? And so that led to the needs assessment. And the 3 things that we were looking at on the needs assessment was to understand the potential impacts on physical activity, identify an alternative active transportation corridor, and then assess safety concerns of displaced bicycle and pedestrian foot traffic during the potential closure. So this was the survey. So it was 17 questions, some open-ended and closed-ended. It was only open for a week from March 7th to March 14th. And it was only a social media campaign. And it was posted on CARTA's social media websites. During the time I was working at CARTA, and they were my community partner for the project, which was a requirement for the project. And they were so gracious as to allow me to work with them on this. We got 579 completed surveys, which is fantastic. I was super excited about that since we only needed 384 to have to move forward with the data collection or data. So I collected from 2021 the census of 2021. The population of Chattanooga was 182,000 plus, and with a confidence level of 95%, and then a margin of error of 5%, came up to this sample size of 384, which we exceeded. So I was very excited about that, and the survey did receive IRB approval from UTC. And so I'm going to go one by one through all of these questions. So there's 17 of them. One of them was a screener. So it's basically asking, have you ever used the bridge? That one is not included in this. The answer was yes for everybody. But so how often do you use the Walnut Street Bridge? Sorry. So 39% of the sample size said that they used it weekly. 35% that said that they used it monthly. And then, any questions on that one? I'm gonna go move through it. And then, how do you typically travel to the Walnut Street Bridge? So we have 38% that are moving or traveling to the bridge by car, their personal vehicle. And then we have 44% that are walking to the bridge. So that's how they're getting there. And then we do have some on the bicycle. And then what best describes why you typically use the Walnut Street Bridge? We have 61% saying that they use it for recreation and leisure purposes. And then the second highest is exercise. And then what type of activity do you do most often on the Walnut Street Bridge? So 73% said they walk. And then we see some run and bike, but majority of it is people are walking on the bridge. And then how likely is the closure of the Walnut Street Bridge going to impact your physical activity level? So we had 61% say that it was going to impact their physical activity level. And again, this project was looking at physical activity after transportation as a way to mitigate chronic disease. So this was a huge impact and something that really I took away from it for my project with UTC. And could potentially go into next steps of, what are some ways to make sure that the physical activity levels aren't being lowered in this area during the closure. And then how likely are you to continue biking, walking, or running in the North Shore area or downtown during the Walnut Street Bridge? So this one's a little bit more split, but we have 46% saying that they probably will not continue walking or biking in that area. And then we also have 42% saying that they will continue. So again, impacting physical activity, but also meaning people who do use the Walnut Street Bridge will be using either Market Street Bridge or Veterans Bridge. And then, do you feel safe walking, biking, or running across the Market Street Bridge? And 64% said no. And then, would you feel safe walking, biking, or running across the Market Street Bridge if there were increased safety measures taken for the duration of the Walnut Street Bridge closure? And 62% said yes, they would feel safer if there were measures taken to increase that safety on the Market Street Bridge. And this one kind of had some controversy around it, but how much do you agree with temporarily reducing the number of travel lanes on Market Street Bridge from 4 to 2, so 1 in each direction, with and adding bicycle lanes and a buffer between the cars, like the car lanes and the bicycles? So this is just one example of what this could look like, even if this is possible. This was me just play designing. I'm not an engineer by any means, but an example of what this kind of could look like and as a visual. So the sidewalks already on Market Street Bridge are around 6 feet, and each lane is 9 feet, which is quite tiny. So if you have driven across it, you might be playing tag. You don't want to hit somebody's window, on the same lane, or individual or cars coming the other way. So I know I drive like a window, so I don't want to be very close to the other cars on that lane or on that bridge. So, but potentially have a buffer. So in this example, it was a cone, this orange and white cone, but in the suggestions, a lot of people were suggesting a physical barrier. Again, I'm not an engineer, but this is something that was mentioned a lot. And then having a bicycle lane. If people are biking and walking on the Walnut Street Bridge, how are they going to get across safely? So making sure that they are being accounted for and heard. And then, so the question from that one, so again, I'll read it one more time. How much do you agree with temporarily reducing the number of travel lanes on Market Street Bridge from 4 to 2 lanes with 1 in each direction and adding 2 bicycle lanes with buffers in between the cars and bicyclists? So 71% said they agree that Market Street Bridge should be temporarily reconfigured with that lane reduction and added bicycle lanes. And then how much you agree with temporarily reconfiguring Market Street Bridge as an alternative active transportation avenue. So we were asking, would you rather your preference on Market Street Bridge and then your preference on the Veterans Bridge? And so the 72% said that they would like to see an alternative active transportation avenue on the Market Street Bridge. And then we have more of a split, but 53% said that they would like to see the alternative route on the Veterans Memorial Bridge. And then this is just a side-by-side looking at the numbers. So Market Street Bridge, so if you're coming from Coolidge and you wanted to cross Market Street Bridge to get downtown, it's about half a mile, roughly. And then if you were to go from that same spot in Coolidge Park to Veterans, go up Fraser and down Veterans to downtown, it's about a mile. So it's double the length. So Market Street Bridge, again, 72% said they would like to see that Market Street Bridge be changed, reconfigured, or used as the alternative pathway. And then Veterans Bridge, we had 53% said that they would like to see that one. And then another question was, what was your residential zip code? So I just threw the zip codes into Google Maps and made this map. And this is showing where we've seen people who come to visit and walk across the bridge. So we're not just serving the bridge for Chattanoogans, we're doing it for a much larger area, which I think is very amazing. Like Mary Kelly said in that quote in the beginning, the Walnut Street Bridge is the Eiffel Tower of Chattanooga, and I definitely agree with that. It is a very beloved landmark. And so I think it's really important to show just how other people in the surrounding areas are traveling there to use it. And then the next question was, what is your age? So we have 53% that are between the ages of 18 and 35 who filled out the survey. So we're kind of targeting that younger generation. And then gender, majority were females. And naturally females, I did a crosstab on this, but females were feeling more females so that they were less safe on Market Street Bridge. And then majority were not students. So Philip Ayeze, he's in the room. He did a survey in this from 2009 to 2011, and I was building off this survey. And one of the questions he asked was, how do you travel to the Walnut Street Bridge, which I did ask. And we can see from his data back then, we have majority that were driving to the Walnut Street Bridge. And in this survey today that I did earlier this year, we see that number come down, and we actually see a huge increase in walking and biking. So that area we can say that area is being more activated. We have a lot more people moving in. Development has taken off around that time. 2009, 2011, we had the Walnut Street being developed, or the residential side of it, and North Shore being developed and having housing. So we're really seeing that area being activated. And then we had an open-ended question. We had an open-ended question that was asking for any suggestions or any comments, concerns, whatever it may be. We wanted to hear just what people were thinking. And some of the main highlights were the closure length. I do want to say that I put out 18 months. That was not supposed to be a hard answer. Like, that is the answer. So that was just a idea. And so there were many concerns around the length of the closure and how that would impact many aspects. So how that would impact tourism, We have the Moon River during that time, Wine Over Water. We have all kinds of festivals during that period. So how does that impact those organizations? I know Wine Over Water is a huge fundraising event. So what does that look like? And then looking at the Market Street Bridge concerns. So if you have walked over Market Street Bridge, it is also wood, just like Walnut Street Bridge, and it has some of the issues with it deteriorating. And as a woman, I don't feel comfortable walking across it, especially at night, as the lighting isn't maybe as good as it could be, in my opinion. And we did see some comments about that as well, that for women, it was a little bit nerve-wracking walking across it at night, and they feel more comfortable on the Walnut Street Bridge due to the lighting. And then what the reconfiguration would look like. Does that, is closing down the lanes, is that feasible? Is that possible? What does that look like? How is that going to impact traffic? Should a traffic study be done? And different things like that, which will be addressed, I think, a little bit later on, and what those next steps could be and challenges. But how does it impact tourists, since the summer is a very touristy season or time? And then transparency from the city, looking, there are many concerns about how they have not heard about the bridge needing to be taken under construction and needing to be repaired. So there were many comments using the word transparency regarding the city. And then again, traffic concerns, physical barriers, saw a lot of that on making sure that the bicyclists are protected on the Market Street Bridge or the Veterans Bridge, whichever bridge is identified moving forward. And then these are some quotes that were from this open-ended question. So it is mandatory to increase safety for pedestrians and bicyclists on Market Street Bridge during this time. It would be even better if this was done on both Market and Veterans Bridge. And then as someone who uses the bridge a few times a week to commute by bike, it would be very helpful to have another safe route to cross the river. If there isn't a protected crossing, I would probably have to return to driving, which negatively impacts my health, the environment, and traffic for those who do not drive. And then I'll have Eric come up.
Thanks, Savannah. Well, what I'm going to start by just saying that this is, I'm really glad for the opportunity to see and review the survey of responses that Savannah has collected over time, in particular with all of you, and it's really helpful as the city continues to develop and then progress with this project going forward. I want to start by, again, whether it's the Eiffel Tower or any other great public place, just continue to affirm that the Walnut Street Bridge is one of our greatest, maybe in my personal opinion, our greatest public space in Chattanooga. It's an essential part of how we think about our city, how people move around our city. It's an essential part of our transportation network. And it needs to continue to be something that we value now and is available for people going forward for the generations to come. There is a lot of work that went into saving the bridge in the first place, ensuring that it could be a place for pedestrians and bicyclists exclusively. And we need to continue to invest in the maintenance and ongoing support of that bridge. If you have used it recently or seen the pictures, it is in desperate need of repairs. You can see that visibly. There's also things that are not as easy to see underneath that subsurface. And we know that we need to, in order for this to continue to be available for people to use, and for people, frankly, to be safe as they're continuing to use the bridge, we need to continue to invest in repairs. And it's going to be a significant project so that we can continue to have that for a lot of years going forward. Knowing that, we know we need to balance the need for that repair with the impacts of construction, both because there are a limited number of river crossings and because that is the only exclusive bike ped connection across the river. It's going to be a balance between those things as we're moving forward. Still developing exactly what that looks like. And there's going to be a lot more information about that coming soon. But we know that the limited number of river crossings means that we are going to be and need to continue to explore all the different ways that people are, particularly pedestrians and bicyclists, are going to be using the space and crossing from one side of the river to another throughout the duration of the project. I don't think Matt mentioned this, but Market Street Bridge, we wanted to just call out because that was something that was highlighted in the survey and certainly is a big concern. Market Street Bridge is technically a state route. So the State Department of Transportation makes decisions about how the lanes are configured, how it is used. We are working with them about this and other state routes to see if there are ways that we can improve how people use it for everybody, drivers, bicyclists, pedestrians, everybody, and we'll continue to do so as it relates to Market Street Bridge. But just to note that the way that that bridge is configured, how it is used, is not solely up to the discretion of the city. In terms of what's next, as I mentioned, details about both the construction impacts, the timeline, everything like that, as well as alternative routes, those are going to be available soon. If you have not, there is a second sign-in sheet up near the front door. Please sign in. We want to be able to communicate this, all the details about this project, what the impacts are going to be as soon as we can and as often as we can throughout it. Please sign up. That's a great way to start getting information about that as soon as it's available. I think with that, we'll turn to some questions.
I know that was a little quick, so I do apologize, but again, my main priority was to get these results out there and to answer any questions regarding them.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
Senator had a $31 million cost to do the work. So obviously, you've done some design work to know what you would plan to do, but I haven't heard anything about a Section 106 review, which is required by the federal government. Where are you on the Section 106 review?
And if you'll just restate the question so people online can hear.
What? So I think the question was about where in the process with the Section 106 review, where the city is in the process with that. So the city has been working through, actually this has federal funding in it. That's why it's a, the detail in the transportation improvement program phase was there. I don't know the specifics about the Section 106 status, but the city has been continuing to move through the federal process, both the NEPA review process that's a part of, as well as design approvals. I am writing questions down and things that we can come back to you about that with. I don't happen to know the answer to that right at the moment.
I was the original architect and resident engineer on restoration. And our consultant wrote the grant request for the city. And it only took us $4.5 million to do the entire restoration of the bridge. First, I'm just curious to know, since you seem to have a design that you put a cost amount to, and there has been no Section 106 review. It's federal law, which requires. That's how we say the bridge is perfect.
I'm not saying that there hasn't been that process, the Section 106. So
obviously there hasn't been. I mean,
Okay.
I've been looking for it, having been involved in the original Section 106 review, and haven't been an architect or resident engineer for the restoration. To the best of my knowledge, nothing has been done.
For those that don't know what a Section 106 review, can you explain that and give the parties are?
Well, if you have a facility, a bridge, a building, something that are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, you are using any amount of federal funds, you have to go through a Section 106 review, series of public meetings, that Department of the Interior. Yeah. You have to have a series of public meetings to review the same material that you're putting out here. You obviously have done someone has done some design work. I don't know how in the world you got up to $31 million since the engineering that needed to be done. We already did back in 1990. So I'm a little set back by a cost of $31 million, and it only took us 4.5 to do it the first time. And there has been no section 106 review. Met personally with the mayor and explained to him that there had to be a section 106 review. But there doesn't appear, you don't know anything about section 106.
I'm not able to say whether there has or hasn't been one, but I know that this process has been following all of the steps that are needed to happen in order for federal funding approval to be received up to this
Except for
point.
the Section 106 review, which is critical.
I'll have to confirm that. I don't know.
Pardon?
I'll have to confirm that that has or hasn't happened. I don't know.
And it can have been done. Because
Okay.
there have been no public meetings. That's what the Section 106 review is.
The mayor just called me and said that it's forthcoming. Hasn't been done.
Okay.
Do we have other questions?
I have two quick ones. You did research, I'm new to the area of native Tennessee and love the bridge. I get out there a lot every morning and bless them. Live right at the south end of who actually is legally responsible for Walnut Street Bridge? My research says it's actually one of the state of Tennessee bridges. Does it belong to the city? Does it belong to the state?
I believe the Walnut Street Bridge is a city. So your question was who is responsible for the Walnut Street Bridge, or who owns it? Yeah, I believe it is a city of Chattanooga bridge. So.
Okay.
It is.
One other quick question, the middle of the Walnut Street Bridge opens up, that's School Bridge.
Mark.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Yes.
Something on the website, Coast Guard mandated to test it opening 4 times a year. You know, are you aware of that?
Yeah, it is regularly tested.
So if we partition roadway out there, the state would have to coordinate that with the Coast Guard and move the temporary barriers.
I think that's right. Again, the Market Street Bridge is a state route, so they would certainly need to be coordinated on all of that. Yeah.
I also would like to mention that some of the very sketchy bottom wood on Market Street that was recently placed. Whoever did that, I just want to say thank you. I used to watch this guy go across there and his motor out of a wheelchair every day, and I thought, wow, hope this guy doesn't end up in the road. Thank you for whoever.
It seems like the easier route is Veterans Bridge. Overall, staying in South Market Street, like you said, is state. State, I guess, funded. So Veterans is not, I assume, George Avenue? Or
So Veterans Bridge is not a state route. No, that's correct. Yes, that's correct.
there's a lot more room, obviously, on Veterans to
Yeah.
use it for. And still not obstructing traffic. Do you have an idea? I know I saw how many people cross the bridge, the Walnut Street Bridge. Do you have surveys on how many people cross the Veterans Bridge versus the Market Street Bridge?
I do it. So to restate your question, you were saying that veterans, you had said was perhaps a little bit easier to use than Market Street, and about the numbers. So the numbers of pedestrians and bicyclists were shown. That's an ongoing count program that's periodic throughout the year at a number of locations around the community, including Market Street Bridge. There is not one of those at Veterans Bridge. So I don't know if we have a great comparison today of what Veterans versus Walnut or Market Street would be. Although anecdotally, and I think if we would just observe, we would expect Veterans today to be lower in terms of its pedestrian and bicycle usage than the other bridges. And I think to get to what you're saying, with only 3 non-highway bridges across the river at that point at downtown, it's important for us to be thinking about how all of them are used in context. So it's not an either or sort of situation. I don't know if that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the numbers to see how many people impacted by each or.
It's a good question. We could go and figure out what that would be. We just don't have that at the moment. But, yeah.
I'll add to that. Oh, I'm sorry. If it is feasible to do both and put bike lanes and pedestrian lanes, I mean, I really feel like it's probably not just a temporary fix, but a permanent fix for both of those bridges. once it's done, let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Walnut Street Bridge is really way too narrow for 2 lanes of traffic, or 4 lanes of traffic. Like it is now, it's actually dangerous for cars, let alone, bicycles for like constant. But that's just a whole nother thing.
Very informal, but our initial survey of the Veterans Bridge, with another architect, is the west side of the bridge has a raised pedestrian walkway.
That's right.
Side is not.
That's right.
Here's the more than adequate room to partition for a bike lane and provide additional security for pedestrians on the west side of the bridge, including where it moves around at the south end. The north end has some challenges with how traffic could be routed. It's further to go. It's less convenient for me where I live. But I had to choose between two. I was going to bridge on a pretty safe way. Let's see. Playing dodge and fries on Walnut Street Bridge.
I can anecdotally agree that the Veterans Bridge, I feel safer biking, but the problem goes far in the other direction too, that the Veterans Bridge is so wide that traffic is a lot faster, so biking is unsafe there because traffic is going faster versus slow, narrow traffic on the Market Street Bridge, so I think both have opposite ends of the spectrum.
It has to be a really, Jersey barriers or something out there.
Yeah.
Really.
Something more than the center.
Everyone is speeding on that.
And
Speed throughout Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Okay.
Get to.
Is there any kind of realistic time frame for anything further to actually progress at this point, or is it just waiting on government funding? Like, is there a set in stone-ish timeframe for repairs to be done at this point?
There's not a certain time
Is there
frame.
any
So
idea? Just
I think, and
speculate.
I won't speculate on it, but soon. So. Was there?
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
The question was asking about repeating about permanent change, and one of the comments from the audience was saying that if time and expenses and things allow, that it would be good to have permanent bike lanes on both bridges. So that was the question. Any more questions? Well, I want to say thank you to Savannah and Eric
sorry.
for their time. Green Spaces is here to encourage dialogue and about the important things that are happening in our city. So I encourage you to have conversations and stay here and chat about that, or sign up for our newsletter, and we always distribute information pertinent to the city. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope to see you at Green Prix next week and Green Drinks the week after that. If you haven't gotten food, please go ahead and do so. We have plenty left over. Thank you for your time.